Okay, in this semester, your course number is PHY 4221. So it has got three different portion. So one is structure of matter, and then modern physics, and then you have waves and oscillations. So I'll teach you structure of matter and half of the waves and oscillation. That means I will teach you only the oscillation part, and other teacher will teach you the remaining part. Okay. So at first we are gonna start from structure of matter. So in structure of matter, actually it will deal with matter. So we should know about matter. So about matter, actually you have studied from your elementary school science book. You have studied about matter. So matter is something which has got definite mass, and then it should occupy some space, and also it is capable of resisting forces. And matter has got three stable states. These are gas, which hasn't got any definite shape and volume. That means in structure of matter, we're dealing with the structure. So as the gas hasn't got any structure, we are not going to study about gaseous matter. And then liquid, it has got definite volume, but not definite structure or definite shape. So in structure of matter, we are not dealing with, will not be dealing with liquid matter either. However, in case of solid state, it has got both definite volume and shape. That means it has got some structure. So in structure of matter, actually we'll deal with only solid state of the matter. So actually, in fact, I mean, we can give a new name of the structure of matter. Is actually structure of solid state of a matter or solid state physics. Physics, undergraduate student of physics, they study this one as a solid state physics. Okay. So the first chapter of this one is crystallography. So the crystallography is a branch of physics or material science which deals with the arrangement of atoms or molecules in a matter. That is called crystallography. And a person who is expert in crystallography is called crystallographer. So at first, we'll classify the material from crystallographic point of view. So materials can be classified as crystalline materials, and other one is non-crystalline materials or amorphous materials or glassy materials. Okay. So crystalline materials are when the atoms or molecules are arranged in 3D periodic manner in 3Ds. Like in this case, we consider crystalline silicon dioxide. So silicon and oxygens are arranged in a periodic manner, and they form this unit cell. And this unit cell repeats itself in the material. So if the atoms are arranged in this fashion, we call it crystalline materials. So in crystalline materials, atoms pack in periodic 3D arrays, and this sort of crystallinity is observed in metals, many ceramics, and also in some polymers. Some polymer also has got this sort of crystalline structure. And this is the 2D arrangement of silicon dioxide atom, but this is non-crystalline. Again, these are the same atoms, silicon and oxygens. However, there is no regular and periodic arrangement of these atoms. Okay, so this one and that one and other one are different. There is no repetition of the unit cell in non-crystalline materials. So that means atoms have no periodic packing. Okay, occurs for complex structure, and it occurs due to rapid cooling. What does that mean? That means when solid is formed, the immediate first state of solid state is actually liquid state. When in a liquid state, atoms are randomly arranged. Okay, so however, in solid state, the atomic position is become almost fixed. Okay, so if you pull them very slowly, then atom can take their low energy positions, and as a result, crystalline solids are formed. However, if you pull it rapidly, then non-crystalline materials are formed. So amorphous, non-crystalline, and also the glass. So in some authors, they say glassy state as well, are similar word. Okay. Now, the crystalline materials can be classified as single crystal and polycrystal. Like in single crystal, periodicity of the pattern extends throughout a whole piece of material without any interruption. However, in polycrystalline solid, the periodicity of the pattern will be interrupted, and crystal composed of many small crystal or grain, and grain have actually different crystallographic orientation. That means there exists atomic mismatch within where the grain meets, that means in the grain boundary. So this is an electron microscopic picture of one of my sample, which was taken in 1995 while I was doing my PhD. So look at this mosaic structure. So this has got one grain. This is one grain, and then this is called the grain boundary, and then another grain. So grain is a region where the atoms are arranged in regular and periodic manner. If we look at the atomic arrangement of grain and grain boundary, it is shown here. So in this region, this is one of the grain, and that one is another grain, and this region is called grain boundary. So these are grain, and this region is the grain boundary. So if you look at the grain, we can consider this one as the unit cell. So this unit cell will repeat in the material to make the crystal, one top of another. Okay, and again in the same region you have got the same unit cell, but the orientation of the unit cells are different. Kind of like when you arrange the books in a bookshelf, you can arrange it vertically, or you can slant it little bit. You can make some angle. Okay, just like that. So same unit cell. I mean same unit cell, but orientation of the unit cells are different. And along the grain boundary region, there is no repetition of the unit cell. Okay, so that means the periodicity is interrupted in the grain boundary region. Okay, and the amorphous material has got lacks of systematic arrangement of atoms, and in that case, size of the grain or crystal become proper to size of the pattern. In amorphous solid, there is no long range order. Like look at here. In this here, unit cells are arranged infinitely. Okay, but in some amorphous materials, one or two unit cells may repeat, but there is no long range repetition. Now we'll go back to the property of this single crystal and polycrystal. In single crystal, property vary with direction. If the property vary with direction, we call it anisotropic. Like this is a typical unit cell of body centered cubic crystal, which we are going to study later on. Okay, so and you have measured Young modulus in your physics lab. So if you measure the Young modulus along this edge, and also along, this is called the body diagonal, along the body diagonal, number of atoms are larger. Okay, but however along the edge, number of atoms is less. So Young modulus will be higher along the body diagonal compared to the edge. So this property is called the anisotropic. So normally single crystal shows this anisotropic behavior. However, in case of polycrystalline materials, property may or may not vary with direction. That means the properties are, if grains are randomly oriented, the properties are isotropic. Okay. However, in some cases, the grains are excessively large. So look at here, the grain size is here about 200 micron. However, in the previous slide, the average grain size is about 5 micron. So if the grain sizes are quite big, so that crystals are called textured crystals, whose property is almost close to the single crystals. So among the polycrystalline materials, except the textured crystals may be anisotropic. However, except these textured crystals, other polycrystalline materials are, the properties are isotropic. Okay. Another property of a crystalline material is allotropy or polymorphism. Allotropy or polymorphism. So this is basically two or more distinct crystal structure for the same material. Good example is a carbon atom. In a carbon atoms has got some type of arrangement. However, in the diamond and graphite actually consist of carbon atom, and arrangement of the carbon atom in carbon and in diamond and graphite are different. And there is another newly discovered material which is called graphene. Please write it down, graphene. That also consists of carbon atom. However, the arrangement of the atoms are different. And these arrangement of the atoms, different arrangement of the atoms, make the property of the material different. Price of the materials are also different. Like the carbon has very less value. However, the diamond is very expensive, and graphene also very expensive stuff. Okay, and another example is iron. You have studied, if you heat the iron beyond some temperature, its magnetic property will be lost. We have studied this in first semester. So that is called the transition temperature or Curie temperature. So the arrangement of the atom below Curie temperature and above Curie temperature are different. So that is allotropy or polymorphism. And also titanium has got that type of behavior as well. Okay. So it's for most solid, crystalline state is the natural state. Okay. Crystalline state is the natural state. However, amorphous materials form because of the rapid cooling that we have considered, okay, and that we have explained earlier. Why the crystalline state is the natural state? Because the energy of the ordered atomic arrangement is lower than that of the irregular packing of the atoms. However, when the atoms are not given an opportunity to arrange themselves properly by inhibiting their mobility, then amorphous materials may be formed. Like you have seen in the very beginning that we consider the same material, silicon dioxide. It may be crystalline, it may be found in crystalline form, and also it may be found in non-crystalline form. Actually, that depends on how these solids are grown. If the solids are grown from the liquid state, if the temperature is reduced very slowly, then you will get crystalline state. If you cool it rapidly, then you will get amorphous materials. Okay, so the amorphous materials, if you heat up the amorphous materials, it will become liquid again, and then if you cool it slowly, that amorphous materials may become crystalline again, and this process in crystallography or material science is called annealing. So upon annealing, glassy substance or amorphous substance may crystallize again. And then actually we are not going to study liquid because liquid hasn't got any definite structure. However, there are some liquid that they have got one or two dimensional periodicity. Okay, and such substance actually flow and will rise in the capillary tube. And a good example is ammonium oleate. Okay, like last decade, liquid in the last decade in electronic industry, we use liquid crystal for displaying something. You might have heard the name of liquid crystal display. That was popular in last decade. However, in nowadays we get another exciting new materials for displaying. That is basically, you know, that one, LED display, and that is more efficient, than liquid crystals. So other than these liquid crystals, other liquids are not crystalline. Okay. So that's all about the classification of solid from crystallographic point of view. If I summarize, from crystallographic point of view, we can classify material as crystalline and amorphous. And crystalline materials may be classified as single crystal and polycrystal. And we have explained those subdivisions already. Okay, so now if you want to make a crystal, you will actually go to see a crystallographer. Okay, and crystallographer will ask for some space and also the atoms and molecules, because the fundamental building block of a material is atoms or molecules, and atoms and molecules are arranged in some manner in the solid. Okay, so at first, after getting the atoms, crystallographer will try to arrange the atoms. At first, he will think how he can arrange the atoms in the space. So at first, he will think about some points in the space having some special property. Okay, and those points are called space lattice. So the space lattice is a mathematical concept. So please note this one. It is a mathematical concept, and it is defined as and also note this one, infinite number of points in space with the property that the arrangement of the points about a given point is identical with that about any other point. So what does that mean? That means you see the black dots, not the bigger one. The black dots are the points in space. Now we said that points has got some special property. Property is, if you locate, so this is a square array of points. Square array of points means this distance and that distance are same. If you locate yourself at point P, you will see at a distance on your right, at a distance A, there will be another atom. On left, there will be another atom. On top, at a distance A, there will be another atom, another point, and below another point. And there is no other point at a distance A from this point P. So that these points are called nearest neighbor. However, there is another point at a distance root 2A. Why it is root 2A? Because this one is A, this one is A. So there is one point here at a distance root 2A, another point there, another point there, another point. And there is no other points at a distance root 2A in this 2D space lattice. So if you now, so this is the condition of the next nearest neighbor. And if you move to any other point in the space lattice, let's say we move at point Q, and we'll see at a distance A, on your right, there is one point, on your left, there is another point, on top, at a distance A, there is another point, and below, there is another point. Again, this one is root 2, this one is root, at a distance root 2, and it means the next nearest neighbor. You have one point here, one point there, one point there, one point there. So the point P, scenario of the point P, if you sit at P, the scenario of point P and scenario of point Q will be the exactly same. So if the points are arranged in such a fashion, we call it space lattice. So space lattice is a mathematical concept. Now it becomes regular and periodic. So crystallographer will add, look at the bigger one, bigger circle, add an atoms in his in every lattice point. In every lattice point, he will add the atoms. So the atoms or molecules that you are adding in every lattice point to get the crystal, we call it basis. So logically, the crystal structure may be, you can consider the crystal structure consists of a lattice is actually the mathematical point or imaginary points in space, and basis is the real thing, atoms or molecules that you are adding to get the crystal structure. So we have explained space lattice and basis. Next topic is unit cell. Unit cell. So unit cell is the smallest structural unit or building block that can describe the crystal structure. And repetition of the unit cell actually generate the entire crystal. So we consider these space that is here again. Same space that is. Now we can draw the unit cell. So we number that one. This one is 1. Unit cell number 1 or unit cell number 2. And then unit cell number 3. So you can draw the unit cell either in this way, that way, or that way. Actually, choice of unit cell is arbitrary. So you can choose unit cell this way, or that. And among these 3 unit cell, we can classify. You will see that 2 unit cell will belong to the same group. So, and this classification is done by the number of atom per unit cell. If you calculate the number of atom per unit cell, how many atoms are in this unit cell? So to calculate that one, actually, if you consider these atoms, so these atoms actually simultaneously present in this unit cell, and also another unit cell here, another unit cell there. That means it present simultaneously present in this unit cell, number 2, 3, 4. That means 4 unit cell. So contribution of this atom in this unit cell is 1/4. And as we have seen in the space, that is, every atom, every point has got the similar status. So another 1/4 will come from this corner, another 1/4 will come from this corner, and then this one. So total number of atoms in this unit cell will be 1/4 multiplied by 4. This will be 1. And then if you consider number 2 unit cell, from the corner atom, you will get 1, and the body center atom is only for this unit cell. So there is another atom there. So number of atoms per unit cell in unit cell number 2 will be 2. However, if you consider the unit cell number 3, these atoms lies inside this unit cell. So again, it has got 1 atom per unit cell. So now we can see that unit cell number 1 and unit cell number 3 has got 1 unit cell. You cannot, this is the minimum volume cell. And this minimum volume cell is called primitive unit cell. And the number 2 unit cell is a non-primitive because it contains more than 1 atom. So unit cell can be classified as 2 types. One is primitive and the other one is non-primitive. Okay. So if you actually the real crystals are 3D, and atomic arrangement will be look like that. So in 3D, unit cell will be look like that one. To construct a unit cell, as first we consider an atom in the stack. We'll choose 1 atom at the origin, and then we'll draw axes. These axes are called crystallographic axis. So we draw x-axis through the atom, and then like this. So through the atom, we draw x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. These are basically called crystallographic axis. These are called crystallographic axis. Okay, and these axes may be same or different from the axis that you have considered in Cartesian coordinate. Okay, so the intercept on the intercept of the first atom in x-axis is denoted by A. Intercept of the first atom from the origin on z-axis is B, and intercept of the first atom with reference to the origin is denoted by C. So in this case, A, B, C are called the primitives or characteristic intercept on the axis. However, if you know only the primitives, is not enough to identify the unit cell. You also need to know alpha. This is done by alpha, and then beta, and then gamma. This alpha, beta, gamma are known as interfacial angles. So the primitives and interfacial angle constitute the lattice parameter of the unit cell. Like A, if you want to know lattice unit cell, you need to know A, B, and C, and also you need to know alpha, beta, and gamma. If you know all these six terms, then you know the unit cell of a unit cell in 3D. So these are called lattice parameters of a unit cell in 3D, in real crystal. However, in the previous slides, we have studied 2D unit cell. So before studying 3D unit cell, we will study all possible space lattices in 2D. Now, to identify a unit cell in 2D, actually you need to know only only these parameters, like this. Okay, so you need only this one. In 2D, you have only x axis and y axis, x and y. This is intercept A, this is intercept B, and only one angle is enough, phi. So you need three things, A, B, and angle phi to know the lattice parameter of a unit cell in 2D. And we'll see there are 5 distinct types of space lattices in 2D. So first one is called the oblique lattice. In oblique lattice, there is no restriction in the lattice. However, there are some, and besides this, there are some 4 special lattices. And every distinct lattice types is called Bravais lattice. In every distinct lattice types, in whether in 2D or 3D, these are called Bravais lattices. Bravais is a name of a crystallographer. According to him, these are called Bravais lattices. Okay. So this figure shows the atomic arrangement in 2D for oblique lattice. As you can see that A and B are not same. A and B are not same, and also the angle phi is not 90 degree. So this is called the oblique lattice. And then square lattices, there are some restrictions are there. You have seen in previous slide when we have studied space lattice, A and B are same. So this is called square lattice, and the angle is 90 degree. So this is called square lattice. And then third number of space lattice is A and B are not same. A and B are not same, and angle phi equal to 90 degrees. So this is called rectangular. This is called rectangular unit cell. And then rectangular unit cell is a bigger cell. So if some lattice points are present at the center of the rectangle, like in this case, so it has got the same lattice parameter. However, there is an additional lattice point at the center of every rectangle. We call it rectangular lattice. Now, in rectangular lattice, you can draw unit cell in this way. This is called the primitive unit cell. You cannot draw a unit cell less than that. This is called primitive unit cell. And then this is the non-primitive unit cell. This one is the non-primitive, and this one is the primitive unit cell. And then finally, hexagonal lattice. So in hexagonal lattice, you have A equal to B, and then phi equal to 120 degree. So this is the non-primitive unit cell of a hexagonal space lattice. If you draw the primitive, so you need to fill up. So this is 120, This angle is also 120. This angle is also 120. This angle is also 120. And that angle is also 120. So this is the hexagon. So in a hexagonal unit cell, you have one primitive, and then you draw this one, another primitive, and another primitive. So 3 primitive cells are in a hexagonal non-primitive cells. So these are the 5 distinct types of space lattices in 2D. Okay, whatever you draw, whatever you consider, that will belong to these 5 types of unit cell. Okay.